Hi guys, welcome back to The Forgetful Scholar, and this week I read one book. Just the one. Fighting against the book slump, the reading slump. And I didn't do a great job of it, but it happened, right? So this book this week is a historical cozy mystery called, what was it called? The Scottish Ladies Detective Agency. I think it's book one. I haven't found... Well, when I was looking, I didn't find like another first book for this series. So I believe it's book one, I think, by Lydia Travers. So this is about 299 pages. 3 stars. Okay, bye. No. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of it today. So, I only was able to read one book this week. I got really busy, and I will admit the reading slump didn't help. But anyway, I enjoyed myself. So this book, let's see if, I wrote down. So there's a thief, a murder, a kidnapping of a person, or a missing persons case, and a missing dog. So it's a little interesting. So I do think it started out a little slow. So we're in Maud's POV the whole time. And her once lady's maid, Daisy, turned assistant to her detective agency, Daisy. They're in this agency together, and this takes place in Scotland, and it's the early 1900s. So what I really, really loved about this book, like the vibes, immaculate. Now, what I really loved about this book is that you're kind of put in the middle of the suffragette movement. And even though the character isn't part of the suffragette movement, she is a modern woman. She's all for it. And I thought what the writer did was unbelievably fascinating and interesting. Because, if you don't know, the suffragette movement was a movement in the early 1900s to get women the vote. To be able to sit in juries, just to be treated equally, basically. So, if you didn't realize, women didn't have the vote for really all that much long time, not that long of a time, we didn't have the right to vote. So, and I really love that because I am a nerd. I love history, mythology, history, all that stuff. So I kind of loved that we were put into that time period. And other books I've read in that time period, it's not really, at least the books I've read, like the suffragette movement, maybe a throwaway line here or there, but it's not really integral to part of the plot. And although it's not integral to the part of the plot in this book, it's all around her, all around our character, and has consequences, good or bad. And it's it's not really part of the overall arcing mystery, but it does give you a clue on just who one of the people of interest are really like, right? So at one point towards, I would say the middle of the book, into the second act, the middle of the book, one of the people of interest that could be a thief / murderer, he is a prosecutor and is basically, a lawyer prosecutor. And he's arguing, has a case in front of the court where the defendant is a suffragette. So we're there, and it was a real trial. I fact-checked it, and I was like, oh, this is a real trial. So our plucky, spicy, awesome Maud, because I really like her and Daisy, is in the audience. I think it's called the audience, or is it the gallery? No, the audience is watching the trial in real time, and it made me so mad. The way the woman on trial, I believe her name was Christine Brown, how, I'm sure that's accurate to how she was treated. It made me so mad, to the point where I was having dinner with my mom when I was reading this book, when I was up to that point, and I mentioned it, how it put me in such a bad mood, and how the suffragettes are real life superheroes, and their story shouldn't be forgotten, you know what I mean? And my mom just kind of looked at me, and she's like, and I was like, man, if I was in that time period, she looked at me, she's like, you would have been hung. And I was like, that's what I was thinking. Firing squad. I would have been, she's like, burn the witch. I just thought it was so funny. I was like, absolutely. Can't even get mad if it's true, you know? And she's like, oh, probably a good thing you weren't born in that time period. I would have been a menace to society. Anyway, going back on it. So, like, I loved how the author did that. It put, when you're reading from Maud's POV, so you care about Maud and you put her, and then you're reading from her point of view, watching this suffragette basically being railroaded into prison, and prisons are horrible now. They were horrible back then too. Like, just unbelievably terrifying, right? So you just get mad. I was like, oh, this was so wonderfully done, right? This part is like my favorite part of the book. It had nothing to do really with the mysteries overall, but I was like, oh, I love this part of the book because it just really kind of, and even if you're not interested in history, I felt like it was a good way of making history feel more alive, made you feel more connected to it in a way, you know? So I really love that. So Maud is the youngest. She has a bunch of older brothers. Her dad is a sweetheart. She starts her own detective agency, and it's called M. What was her last name? And I didn't write it down. Sorry. But everyone assumes it's Mr., you know what I mean? Because she didn't put Maud. She just put M, her initial. So there's a little fun confusion, and one possible client that first shows up, he comes back in the book the whole time. I'm guessing he's sort of the romantic interest, how cozies go. Lord Hamish, I don't remember his last name. I remember his first name being Hamish. I'm sorry. I'm kind of all over the place today. I'm trying to concentrate. It's not working really well. So Hamish comes in. He's looking for the Mister, and she's like, no, it's me and my assistant Daisy. Love Daisy. And he's like, oh, well, I can't hire you. I'm sorry. You know, she's like, in turn, she's kind of like, well, fuck you, dude. Yeah, all right, get out of here. You know, go. Never want to see you again. And we're basically told he's handsome because Daisy's like, oh man, he was hot. And then, like, the gossip kind of magazine, he's basically, they call him the Baron of Hearts because he's a baron. And he, like, apparently, you know, has a lot of sweethearts in the press that, you know, never filmed with the same woman, you know, never taken pictures at events with the same woman twice, you know, kind of a thing. The second client, who I really enjoyed, was an elderly duchess that was actually really happy that Maud was the detective and there wasn't any Mister. You know what I mean? She's like, oh, how marvelous. And I was like, oh, I already like her. So the Duchess, because we're told, because Daisy and Maud read the newspaper, that there is a spree of jewelry heists, right? Every time there's a big party, someone's jewelry has gone missing, right? So the Duchess is throwing a huge country ball soiree, you know, a very exclusive party, but she doesn't want anyone to lose their jewelry. So she kind of hires Maud preemptively, and she's like, lovely, Maud, you'll be one of the guests, and your assistant can pose as a lady's maid. You know, not realizing that that is how Daisy and Maud met. Daisy used to be Maud's lady's maid. But they're friends. Like, they're good friends. Like, Daisy's just like a year or two younger than Maud, and they're really good friends. And I love their personalities. They're very different, but they're both very strong, and they're a lot of fun. Like, I really love the personalities. Love the personalities. Loved, like, how we got a glimpse of the real life world that's going around them. Loved how the author did that. So they go to this party, and Lord Hamish is there, and he knows she's a private investigator. So she's like, you better not tell anybody. And he's like, okay, I won't. And kind of, obviously, to the reader, sort of hitting on her. But she's like, you know, which is kind of adorable. When Daisy kind of like, hey, Lord Hamish and this other guy, what was the other guy's name? Let's just say Guy B. Guy B is interested in you. And she's like, whatever for? Like, I kind of like that Maud is just completely has no clue, because obviously I mean I think the description of Maud sounds like she's really pretty, but since she doesn't fit the beauty of the time, which at the time was like Gibson girls, like dark hair, dark eyes, pale skin, and she has, it seems to be like more blonde, light eyes, you know, Daisy's redhead, like they don't fit the typical beauty. And she's like, whatever for, I'm hardly in fashion. And I'm like, oh, Maud, I like you. I like you so much. You're a cutie. So like, I really enjoyed them. You know what I mean? So, I will say the pacing was a little slow for me. There was a lot, because we're in Maud's POV the whole time. So there was a lot of Maud just kind of hanging around in the first half, waiting for Daisy to get the good, juicy goss with the servants to kind of them figuring out. And I will say the first part of the book, Daisy did the heavy lifting. Like, holy moly, you know? And since we're not in Daisy's POV, which I know cozy mysteries usually just follow one POV, but I really would have liked Daisy and Maud's dual POV, because Daisy did all this really cool investigating on all this stuff that we only are told about it later. And I get it, you know, I get it. Cozy mysteries tend to be one POV, but I don't think that's like a rule or anything. You know what I mean? I think for cozy mysteries, they just kind of have to be like a cozy mystery, you know, not a graphic crime drama. Right? You know, just because someone hasn't done a dual POV doesn't mean you can't, right? Or at least I haven't read any cozy so far that have a dual POV. So like Daisy will come up and recount what she's done and how she find out about it. And it's sort of like she's mimicking what's going on. So it's kind of on the page as if Daisy, as if we're in Daisy POV, but we're not. We're in Maud's POV and Daisy's just reenacting it for Maud. So I get what the writer was trying to do, is kind of do a show, not tell in that kind of way, but like at the end of the day, it still was just Daisy telling Maud what happened. So at the end of the day, we were just being told what happened, you know, which is a shame. I think that was that and the pacing in the beginning, how it got slow in the beginning, because we're with Maud reading a book, laying about, waiting for Daisy, and we're with Maud the whole time. It just felt very slow because of that, even though I think that was only like 50 pages, you know? So unfortunately, I don't think that did what the writer wanted to do and tried to do. And I think it was a good try and everything. It still felt like we were being told. So I wish we had Daisy's POV for at least the first part. So we could see Daisy like tricking the servants, pretending to be one of them, getting, you know, the details about this guy and this woman and all this kind of stuff, right? An elderly viscountess, ends up dead and her necklace stolen. Maud and Daisy think they found out who stole it, so that case is done and they go back. But it doesn't sit well, like something's nagging at Maud. And the thing is, like, that was like page, I think around 100. So I was like, but there's like 200 more pages left. Like, because I guess I'm used to cozy mysteries being very episodic in nature, like one book, one crime, one mystery, you know what I mean? And after that was solved, I was like, for a little while, I was like, these mysteries, they totally are going to be like interlocked, right? They gotta be. And I thought for sure after, Lord Hamish, told him why he was there in the first place. Like, he comes to them later. He's like, oh, I was impressed that you found the necklace, so I am gonna hire you. And he tells him he's missing letters from his old lover, she is married, and they were stolen, and he needs them back because the lover, husband is like, I think a conservative MP, and if it came out, like this whole thing, and, so I was like, okay. And at the time I was like, how does this, I didn't get how that attached to the murder. Like, well, not the murder and the theft. Like, it was very odd. And even at the end, that crime kind of doesn't completely connect. And then they get a missing dog case, and then they get a missing daughter case, or the missing daughter, then Lord Hamish's case, and then the missing dog case. And I was like, okay, so these 4 cases are gonna interlock, right? And at the end of it, a little bit of spoilers, the missing dog and missing letters interlocked, and there's a very loose connection to Lord Hamish and Gentleman B. You know what I mean? So it's very loose. It wasn't really tied in. So I was like, that's a little odd. And honestly, there was a bit of confusion like on the page. Like, wait, which case are they working now? Oh, okay. Because it didn't really have a rhyme or reason which one they went to. At least that's how it seemed. And at like the 3rd part of the book, there were so many costume changes. Like, she dressed up as a vicar, I think, like a priest. Like, there were so many, like, it was fun, like, you know, but it did feel kind of like a costume going undercover montage. And I was like, wait, why are they doing this? Like, I get it. She dressed up like a priest because they were looking for the letters and they had to break into a woman's home to do it. And it was late at night, and like a vicar or 2 walking at night, who cares? But 2 ladies walking at night, that would, especially at that time, that would bring a lot of attention. So like, I kind of got it, but it just felt like so many costume changes in like a short amount of pages. Like 30 to 20 pages, there was a lot of costume changes. And I was like, costume changes, a hoot, but maybe like spread them out a little bit. That would have been fun, you know? She gets threatened in a dark alley, and then when they're at the end of the book, when they're going towards the Duchess's house, they get shot at. Like, it's a fun read, right? I will say the beginning is slow, and then by the 3rd act, everything ramps up a little too quickly. So that's why I'm saying the pacing for me was a little off. I think it could have had another maybe work through just to get the pacing down, you know? The Daisy, the whole time, hilarious. I love her. I really enjoyed Maud, and I enjoyed Maud's character a lot, especially toward the end when everything comes to light, and they're threatened by a gun again. You know, Daisy beats the crap out of the guy to get out of it, which is great. And like, Maud gives Daisy a hug, you know, right there, which I guess wasn't proper at the time, gives her a hug. And I love Maud's internal dialogue, how she's always amazed how strong Daisy is, because Daisy is so very strong. And even though people think Maud is strong because she keeps like the veneer of strength, she doesn't feel strong inside, you know what I mean? And she's just kind of odd how truly strong Daisy is, even though Daisy always has a smile on her face and always goofing around, you know. And I thought that was really sweet. I really like their friendship. I like that they were 2 different classes, and Maud was like, screw that, I don't care if you're like my lady maid, you're my BFF, and I'm gonna be a detective. You want to join? You know what I mean? Like that. I like that. I like that a lot. Did I kind of wish this was like a sapphic romance? Yeah, because like that would have been like super cute, I think, you know, because they were super cute. I liked the big reveal at the end. I like the confrontation at the end. I like that Gentleman B, who had a really quick turnabout, like at one point, I was suspicious about him from the beginning, because he said something really weird when Maud is leaving the party, and I was like, oh, he's totally the bad guy, you know? So I enjoy that there were clues for the readers to follow along and be like, oh yeah, I clocked it, you know what I mean? I did like that Lord Hamish did a lot of sus shit, bro. Like, I was like, oh man, it's too obvious. He's definitely the red herring, because it's just too freaking obvious. This guy's an idiot. I mean, he's not an idiot, but like, he just kept getting in the way. You know? So I was like, he's the red herring, or he's gonna be the love interest. Because he just can't stay out of Maud's way. You know what I mean? I will say that after the party, when Maud goes to lightly question Gentleman B, because the missing woman is his fiance, and the father hired Maud and Daisy to find her, right? And the father is a judge, right? So I like that ending with that mystery, like put aside of everything else. I really enjoyed that just because the missing girl has a really happy ending, you know, and I like that. But when she goes to question Gentleman B, I was a little disappointed how different the character was from when he was at the party. And I get it was supposed to show him being charming and then this is the real him. I kind of wish he was still charming throughout. And he, Gentleman B is the prosecutor I mentioned before. And then like maybe then we could have saw, because in the trial when the woman was sentenced to prison, the prosecutor was so smug and happy with himself, right? And I wish that would have been the moment Maud was like, you know, oh, the charming facade isn't real. You know what I mean? I wish that could have been like the big reveal of that, you know? I think that would have been a little bit more like, ooh, you know? But overall, I enjoyed myself. Overall, I'm going to continue with the series because I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed Maud. I really enjoyed Daisy. Again, the 4 cases aren't really connected. Like I said, the missing letters and the missing dog are only connected to the missing girl and the murder very loosely because Hamish's lover was also Gentleman B's lover. So that was the only way they kind of weirdly connected. So I was a little disappointed with that, but also I don't know how they could have worked the missing dog, the missing letters into the murder, the missing girl, and the theft, you know, really well. So almost I wish they didn't have that, or they could have had that mystery there, I guess, but it seemed to happen right after, like, boom, they get back from the Duchess's, boom, the missing girl. Like, it just seemed like it was all connected, so maybe if it happened, like, I don't know, it just was kind of jumbled together to the point where like sometimes I had to reread a passage or a couple pages because I was like, wait, which mystery are they working on now? You know what I mean? It got a little convoluted in that sense. But overall, had a fun time. Maud, love her. Daisy, love her. Love their friendship. I really enjoyed Maud's thought process. I will say a little slow in the beginning. So if you want to give it a try, please do. Just know like the first 50 pages until you really get until the murder happens, it's a little slow. And man, if you're like me, you wish you were in Daisy's POV at that point. But so 3 stars, had fun. We'll check out the rest of this series. So I don't want to, but it's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.